Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox back with another episode of the Magnificent Seven Rides again. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to have with me Elaine Capers. Elaine, first of all, welcome back to the pod.
Thanks, Tom. I'm so glad to be here and really appreciate you having us.
Elaine, could you tell our audience how you got into art?
I started my art career as a elementary school student in Fort Stockton, Texas, at the Annie Riggs Museum with Willie Reed Rowe in the summer times. And she had us working with pastels and watercolor and just keeping us kids off the streets and busy in the summertime.
I have heard you say you grew up in West Texas,
That's correct.
as opposed to not West Texas, Kerrville.
Correct. I grew up in Fort Stockton and then spent 25 years in Pecos, and the Big Bend and Fort Davis and the Davis Mountains were my playground in the summers.
It seems to me that's part of the playground in your head today.
Yes, it is. That's where I get my ideas. That's my muse, if we want to say I have a muse. So many of my painting ideas come from that area, and my love of that part of the state shows up in many of my paintings.
One of the just joys we've had in 2024 was an incredibly wet July and June, and perhaps not today, but at least in early August, it was still green, and I didn't recall seeing green in August in a long time in Texas. But that's not the color of where you grew up, yet you lived in a place that had incredibly vibrant and dynamic color. Can you explain to us that part of the Trans-Pecos, Fort Stockton, the Pecos Mountains, whatever you see in your head with color?
My palette was is yellow ochre, burnt sienna, and ultramarine blue. And the very first workshop I ever took were those 3 colors and white, and I learned to mix colors with those 3 colors and white, and I can make any West Texas color using those 3 colors and white. I can make any cactus color, I can make any sky color, I can make any rock or mountain color with those 3 colors and white. And those are West Texas colors.
You mentioned the word mountain, and we now both of us live in the hill country, but that's not mountains. Can you describe the beauty of the mountains, the Pecos Mountains or the Trans-Pecos, as opposed to where we live today in the hill country?
In the hill country, they are rolling hills, lots of rocks in the hill country. But in West Texas, they are mountains. They are rugged mountains. In the Big Bend, it's almost undescribable how rugged that area is. I don't even know how to put it in words. It is rugged, desolate. So many areas have absolutely no plant growth at all. What plant growth there is will stick you, sting you, bite you. It's just so desolate.
You
But
use the word desolate, but when I think of the colors of the Pecos Mountains, I don't think of desolate. I think of a series of cascading colors. Is that fair in your assessment?
oh, yes, absolutely. The Davis Mountains are rust colors and golden colors. The what some of the locals call hoodoos, the tall rock structures that look like chimneys, uh, are sort of rusty reds, and they were perfect places for the Comanche Indians to hide behind and wait for wagon trains to come through and wait for the buffalo soldiers to come through. And structures make up some of the beauty of the Davis Mountains.
I've also heard you talk about what happens after the few times you get a rainstorm.
Yes.
Tell us about that explosion of color.
Oh gosh. When the rains do come and the thunderstorms are just magnificent. You watch the thunderheads build and the lightning shows are amazing. And then the next morning, what was just a plain pasture will be covered with wildflowers. And it happens overnight. After the rain stops, the wildflowers come out and there are purples and yellows and lavenders and reds. And there's a smell in the air, a clean smell left over from the rains. And there's a plant, it's a creosote plant, but us natives call it greasewood. And it it smells like the rain that we had the night before. And it's just such a clean, beautiful smell. A funny little story, when I was growing up, we had evaporative air conditioning. We didn't have central air, and we would break off branches of the greasewood that we had growing in the vacant lot next to our house, and we would put it in the bottom of the evaporative cooler, and then the house would smell like it had been raining because the branch of the greasewood would be wet and blowing in through the vents of the evaporative cooler, and it just smelled like rain.
You mentioned that you took a art class.
Mm.
Who sent you to that art class?
There was a lady in, Pecos when I was living in Pecos. She was an art teacher for children in the summertime, and she was an art teacher that my daughter took a class from when my daughter was about 5. And I had mentioned that I was looking for a class, and she said, "Oh, I know a lady in Monahans. She's the high school art teacher in Monahans, and I think she's teaching a class this summer." And it was a 3-day class, an evening class, and it was an hour and a half at night. And she was the one that said, "Okay, your supplies are these 3 colors and white." And she taught us to I didn't know to be afraid to mix colors because I had not painted before. And so she had us mixing our colors. And I know people now who take classes that, "Oh, I have to buy this blue, and then I have to buy another blue, and then I have to buy this yellow, and then I have to buy another yellow," because they don't know that they can mix colors and make all the colors they need from just the 3 primary colors.
Let's turn to the Magnificent Seven rides again.
Okay.
What is that?
Our very first show, I we had an opportunity for 3 weeks in the Avery Gallery at the Kerr Arts and Cultural Center in downtown Kerrville, and there was a 3-week block of time after the Outdoor Painters show. They had that big gallery for a week, and then they had an empty block of time for 3 weeks, and Lonza Teague, the, executive director, said, "I don't know what I'm gonna do with those 3 weeks." And I said, "Let me talk to some people. I think I know some ladies, and we could put together a show." And sure enough, I made some phone calls and talked to some ladies, and they all said, "Yes, I think we could do that." And so the Magnificent Seven was born, but we were born as women with purpose because we all have a purpose with our art. And as it grew to be 7 women, one of us said, "We're the Magnificent Seven." And that's where the name came from. We were a Magnificent 7 women with purpose.
But you're riding again.
Yes, we are.
Tell us about that.
We grew to be more the Magnificent 7 than women with purpose And at the end of our show, we said, I guess next year, when we all agreed, yes, we want to do it again, next year we need to ride again. And so that's where the rides again came from. And we said, maybe we need to ride with horses next time. And we were, I don't know about that. And then Laura Williams said, I have a connection with horses. And I said, maybe we should do stick horses because I was trying to picture me getting on a horse. And as it turned out, we didn't have to get on the horses. We just stood with the horses. And our photo shoot this year was lots of fun.
So what is your purpose with art?
My purpose is to, I think, use a God given talent. I don't think years ago I thought I had a talent, but I think as time has gone on and I've had the opportunity to paint daily and I've gotten better, I have to believe that getting better has come from God.
Might suggest that the getting better is you painting daily as
Paint,
well.
painting daily has made all the difference in the world, but I think that the talent was there and that it was a gift from God, and my painting daily has brought it out.
And I would certainly agree with that, that the talent was there, but you've been able to bring that up because of your work.
Absolutely.
One of the things about the show that I wanted to explore with you is what do you say to the 8-year-old girl or 8-year-old boy who looks at a piece of your work and their eyes are wide open? It may be the first time they've seen fine art. That may be certainly the closest they have ever been physically. What do you say to that girl or boy?
Oh gosh. I had an opportunity last year to talk to a lot of kids that came through our art show, and I would I spent a lot of time in the gallery, not just on our art reception day, but day to day. And kids came with their parents or with their grandma, and I just would kind of hang back and listen. And one little girl stopped in front of one of Nancy Huffman's paintings, and had it was a creek painting, and she said, "Grandma, I can just feel my toes in that water." And I walked up to her and I said, "And you know what? That says that you see the colors that she painted on that canvas, and you understand the feeling that she wanted you to have." And we talked about that a little bit, and, that when you hear a kid feel a painting rather than just look at it, you know that there are children that get it, and you hope that they will grow into that getting it. You encourage that. You say, "I hope that you'll take some lessons. I hope that you'll explore some more with those colors."
Could you maybe give us a hint or 2 of what you're preparing for this year's show?
As my heart always goes to West Texas, and I have a number of paintings that speak to the Big Bend, speak to West Texas, but I have 2 big pieces that are animals, and I really enjoy painting animals. I have some birds, and I have the 2 big pieces that are a wolf and a buffalo, and then I have some watercolors that are birds, and, then my friend who is a ranch manager in South Dakota, and he sends me ranch pictures that appreciate him sharing, and he's moving cows in one of them, and so it's all country, it's all ranching, it's all West Texas.
This is a local show, or I
Yes.
would call it a local show.
Yes.
Certainly, we're going to welcome anyone who may not be local to our show, but I wanted to maybe use that to explore the importance of a show like this to local artists. or having a podcast like this for local artists, or having a place for local artists like yourself to get together and work with other artists. So I guess it's a long way of saying, tell us about the local art scene in Kerr County.
Oh gosh, there are so many really good artists in Kerr County and area around Kerrville. There was a get together in Bernie just last night. I didn't get to attend, but it was just a social gathering of artists in the area that several members of the art club went to, and hopefully the art club here in Kerrville, and hopefully from Fredericksburg and from the watercolor group and the art society in Bernie, just to network with one another because there are so many good artists. There are professional artists that truly they make their living as artists. And then there are those who just have the love of art and, like me, paint every day and are good because of it. And we are just so fortunate to be saturated with good artists in all mediums.
What do you hope to accomplish in this year's show?
I know we are all doing new work. It will be wonderful to hear the comments on the new work. I hope that we sell. I hope that we have good crowds that come to see the work, and I hope that each and every one of us are successful.
Elaine, unfortunately, we are near the end of our time for this podcast. But before we leave, I wanted to ask you if our listeners wanted to go online and view your art, is there a place they could do that? And if so, where is it?
Yes, on Facebook, Art by Elaine, and all the work for the show will be on that Facebook page and how to contact me on that page.
Well, Elaine, I'm greatly looking forward to seeing your work at this year's show. And thank you so much for taking the time to visit with me.
And thank you, Tom.